Hey, what's good, YouTube? I wanted to make this video because usually every year since like 2016-ish, I have made a year in review video. At one point, I deleted all my previous videos, so you guys won't see a lot of them. I spilled some wax on my desk, and this was in that. I need to clean it up. But anyways, I don't remember if I made one last year, actually. I'm gonna double check. Take a look at this thing. It's an iPhone 13. But I wanted to make this one early, and as I'm recording this, it's the 17th of December, so I know there's still plenty of 2025 left. It is 2025, right? Lord. Yes, it's still 2025. Why was I like actually panicking for a second? But a lot of things did happen. And like genuinely, this year has been wild. It's been crazy. And and I couldn't be happier for this year. I'm trying to scroll back. So these were a year ago. So I did not make one last year. Okay, interesting. I did not make one of these last year. So I missed a year. So I got 2 years worth of things that I got to go over in this video, and it's going to be genuinely crazy. So we got to start back in 2024. 2024 was 2024 was a wild year. Started off that year with my ex-girlfriend, who happened to be very financially abusive, things like that. And I'll get into it. Basically, I was working a lot. I like genuinely working a lot. Full-time at Chick-fil-A. I had gotten a job at Applebee's because I was going to start working 2 jobs because she refused to pay for literally anything because she didn't have her ID. Tried to get her ID, and every time she'd come up with some excuse, and I let it slide. Eventually, we had to move out of the hotel we were living in because we were living in a motel for about 6 months. And it wasn't fun, and it's not a part of my life that I'm actually happy about. No part of that I'm happy about. I wish none of it happened. But that was because of some bullcrap that the last people I was living with let happen. I was physically assaulted and then kicked out because I called the cops on the person that physically assaulted me that lived in the house. I still hate them for that because I lived with them for 5 years. And then that happens. And it's somehow my fault. But anywho, by the way, I don't know if I said this, ignore the work shirt and all that fun stuff. I just got home from work. Literally probably about 10 minutes ago. But we eventually got kicked out. I lived with my friend Gavin for a little bit. Shout out to him, GOAT. And then this is a point where I regret what I did. I genuinely do. I still feel regret for it. Not as much as I used to, but I still genuinely feel regret for it. I had an old friend in high school named Maddie. I'm not afraid to name drop, by the way, so I do not care. I genuinely do not care. Ex's name was Kay, by the way, if any of you cared. Um, I had a crush on her back in high school. She had reached out to me because Kay was looking for someone to live because she couldn't come live with me and my friends. There wasn't enough space. And I didn't go live with her because the people she was going to go stay with, there wasn't enough space. So it worked out that way. And she had reached out to me, and we got to talking about each other, and I had admitted that I had a crush on her in high school, and I ended up cheating. Let's point it that way. If you don't understand what I mean by saying that, then just stay in that obliviousness. I ended up moving out to Chesaning to live with them both, because she was already there. The cheating went on for a good minute. Me and Kay eventually broke up. And then, yeah, we eventually broke up. She actually got kicked out by Maddie, and here's that story. So Maddie has a kid. She ended up having to go do something like that was like a last minute, like, you need to come do this. She was giving her kid a bath. And how she gave her kid a bath was she would let the water run, and she would say, hey, turn off the water, because she knew about how long it takes to fill up that tub. She would say, hey, turn off the water. I was playing video games at the time. Had my headset on, was playing with friends, and I didn't hear any of that. Because we were playing Call of Duty, I think. I don't remember for sure. And she had told Kay that she had to go do something and that she would be back, but to keep an eye on the tub for her. And Kay said, yeah. I didn't hear that. Didn't hear none of it. And at some point, I think we were in between a game, and I still had no idea that Maddie had left. Kay was like, hey, I'm going to go take this phone call outside. I was like, awesome, cool. She was out there for about a half an hour. She came back. I was in the middle of a game and still oblivious to anything else. She came back in. The tub had overflowed. I immediately had texted Maddie. Maddie was like, she's leaving today. Because that could have gotten her kid killed. She tried to pin that on me. And I kind of understand that there probably was a little bit of fault on my side, because I should have been aware, but I was unaware. I was completely unaware. And she tried to pin that on me. Maddie took my side. She's like, yeah, that's not at all on you. Like, you weren't aware. And then I met my now fiance, Callie, through Maddie. Started dating last September. Not this previous September, but like 2024 September. Oh, no, wait. We started dating in October. We went on our first date in September. We got this apartment. A couple weeks ago would have been a year. Was a year that we got the apartment. Now we're into 2025. When we moved to the apartment, I thought I had a job lined up. Turns out I didn't. Then it was for several months, like the first month or two of 2025, I could not find work. I would get an interview. I'd go do it. They'd say they'd call me, and then they never did. I ended up going back to work at Cedar Point. I don't know if I made any videos on this while I was down there. Cedar Point was a blast. It was a genuine blast. I had a lot of fun. Ended up becoming a certified trainer / leader at Power Tower. If you ever go to Cedar Point, Power Tower was the ride that I was a trainer leader at. My responsibility was to train new people that would come, new associates that would come to the ride. I also was responsible for paperwork, things like that. That was technically my first ever leadership position or managerial role in any job that I ever worked. And I still had fun working the ride. I actually had a lot of fun. And while I was there, I ended up meeting a group of Christians there. And I was actually invited by someone who worked at Power Tower with me. She asked if I was religious at all. I was like, yeah, I'm a religious person. I believe in God and all that. I'm a born-again, Bible-believing Christian. Her name was Ellie. It took me a second to remember the name. She invited me to Bible study. At first, I had no idea Bible study was a thing there. And she ended up actually getting sick, and she wasn't there for like the first week or two. But it was every Tuesday and Thursday, and I had a lot of fun with that. Not only did I get to discuss God with people who were fellow-minded Christians, and it was awesome for me. It allowed me to dig deeper into the Bible and get me closer to God. Because I'm gonna be honest, the Bible is not something that I read a whole lot of. And as a Christian, that's actually a very, very bad thing. And I'm starting to get slightly better with it. I still don't read it every single day like I should. But being a part of, but understanding that I am a Christian, I'm not perfect. I just forget things a lot. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. That actually made, and in all honesty, that probably made my experience 10 times better. In June, I decided to come home for a weekend because I had a weekend off. I decided to come home. Took a bus from Sandusky all the way back home. And I ended up proposing. And this is the ring. Well, not the exact ring my fiance got me. I ended up losing the other one. Because the ring, whoever sized me didn't, for some reason, got the sizing wrong. Because that is a lot of space. So I got to get my finger resized. I just haven't found the time or done it at all. So I do need to get that done. But I ended up proposing, and it was probably the most beautiful proposal ever. And well, not most beautiful, but it was beautiful to me. Ended up going back to Cedar Point and then coming home actually early in late July, mid to late July. Some personal things were going on. Don't want to dive too much into that. Couldn't find work for a few weeks. Got a job at Wendy's. That job was terrible. If you ever go to Owasso and you go to the Wendy's there, that is the absolute worst managed fast food restaurant I've ever worked at. And I've worked at McDonald's, I've worked at Rally's, worked at Taco Bell, and then Wendy's. So 4 different fast food establishments. So that is the worst managed one I've ever worked at. And Rally's for a good minute was very poorly managed. Very poorly. So that says a lot. My brain just farted. At one point, and this was towards the very end, I ended up dislocating my shoulder. We were moving furniture in the apartment and went to set something down and came out. It just straight up came out. And yeah, that happened. I was in a sling for a full week. I was in a sling. I still have the sling. It's right here. I was in this for a full week, and it was not fun. I did not enjoy it at all. especially being my right shoulder, the one that I do everything with. I went to go back and I said, hey, you know, I've been doing stuff at home, feels perfect. I should be able to go back to full work. And then after a day or two, because I was working 12 plus hour shifts, and I was like, hey, you know, my shoulder's really hurting. It's not at where I thought it would be. I need you to work in less of my workload. And I basically got told screw off. Like, no, that's not happening. Like, you're working what you're scheduled. There's no accommodations. And I worked for probably about another week after that. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm straight up just done. And because it did not feel right to me to continue working a job that potentially would hurt me, that, you know, I've said, hey, you know, like, this is hurting. Like, I can't keep doing this. I'm going to re-hurt myself. And I've had people say that probably was still a stupid decision to do, but I wasn't dealing with it. And so I now work at T-Mobile. And yeah, as just probably the biggest summary of the past 2 years in the shortest amount of time. I've made these videos and I've rambled for 45 plus minutes. So I'm shocked that I kept this under 16. But yeah, past few years in a quick recap. And we are still a couple weeks away from it, but goodbye 2025. Excited for 2026 and what that's gonna bring. Goals. I didn't say this on YouTube, but me, Kyle, and Brandon, two other friends, are working on within the next decade to be moving down to Alabama and opening up a go-kart track. That is my future plans. Like, I am fully committed to doing this, and I'm excited to actually get the ball rolling, other than having a potential budget in place and the name of the company. I'm actually excited to finally figure out what we got to do to get the ball to start rolling. I'm excited for that, 100% ready for the challenges and the new learning experiences that's going to bring. In terms of 2026, my biggest goal, I want to get closer to God. I'm not as close to God as I should be. I want to learn as much as I can learn. The second biggest one, I want to improve this. I want to improve content creation as a whole. I genuinely want to try to, at some point, before I go to Alabama, I want to be able to do this as a job. So sometime within the next 10 years, I want something to click, and I want to find success in this. And you guys are a big part of that. I don't want to work with these guys forever. I don't even honestly want to work there for another year. If my boss sees this, I am sorry. I actually want to do something that I find interest and enjoyment in. And, you know, working these jobs, like, I'm not finding that. And so I want to find something that I enjoy, and that is video games, streaming, and making content. So that is my goal, to try to start focusing on content a lot more. Also, travel a little bit. I have a few travel plans that I haven't made any purchases on tickets and things like that yet. Getting married, that's a goal. That's not really a goal, it's a thing that's happening. And I want to enjoy life more. I want to go out and I want to do things more. Also, getting my license. I need to get my license at 26. I need to get my license, and I'm working on that. There's a lot of things that I'm not going to delve into that I got to do before I can even try. So that is one of the things. But yeah, that's basically it. If you sat here through the entire 20 minutes, comment like 20. Literally comment 20. Or 2026. Comment 2026, and I'll understand that you made it to this point in the video. And if you did, you're a freaking hero. With that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for watching. God bless. Goodbye 2025. Hello 2026.